Hello, YouTube. It's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are finally talking Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 7, Basement Blues. So we're just going to get on into it. So this is the episode when the couples are moving into the mutual apartment that they film in each city of Married at First Sight. And we get it, and this is also the episode where we get to see everybody else's regular home living conditions are and everything. So there was much anticipated buildup in this episode on mostly David and Michelle on how David lives and everything, but we'll get to that in a few. The first couple I want to talk though is Madison and Alan. So last week, when we saw Madison and Alan, when they moved into the apartment, Madison did not spend the night at the apartment the first night. She went out for happy hour with her little girlfriends and everything. Now, Alan, right when he got back from the honeymoon, had just lost one of his friends that was actually part of his wedding and everything. And, he was upset about that, obviously. And you would have thought that Madison would have been there for him, but she really wasn't. When they moved into the place, she went out for happy hour and did not return. But in this episode, she returned. He welcomed her with open arms, and and he was happy to see her and everything. He wasn't mad, which I give him so much credit for that and everything. But I'm just like, what are we doing here? So this is also the episode where they meet with the experts. The experts come to the apartment to give like a first week overview of how they feel. Madison's problem with Alan is that she's not attracted to him. She feels like that Alan needs to work out more and take better care of himself and everything. Now, what she didn't know is when Pastor Cal and Dr. P and Dr. Pepper came over and talked about it is the fact that she's been wanting that. So, but since she was out with her little girlfriends and waking up on other people's couches, Alan has been to the gym 4 times in the last 3 days. So, and if she would have known that, having she not gone out with her friends. Just saying. I mean, I don't know. Alan is a really nice guy. I do like him. Madison is just from the outside appearance, she looks like she's a really mature and everything, but deep down she's still the party girl. So when they went to go to each other's home, they had Alan has this dog and everything that was pretty they had a nice conversation, and the dog was all around and whatnot. That was just whatever and everything. I guess people were liking Alan's dog and stuff and everything. But yeah, so I mean that was that. So yeah, that was Madison and Alan. Next couple I want to talk is MM and EKG. So I ain't gonna spend much time with them because they're a little but there was a lot of judgment with the apartment. Annam is a nurse practitioner, so when they went to her apartment where she lived, her apartment was set up nice, gray walls, all new appliances, and just one of those fancy stuff that you see on HGTV, basically, and everything. And EKG was just, I feel like he was just a little bit intimidated by that. He was just judging, yep, no, I ain't surprised by this. When we went to his apartment, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. She made it do what it do. But, I do think that EKG is intimidated by the success of an MM. And, I do think they're just laughing and having a good time right now, just goofing off. But I think when serious issues come about, they're not going to be able to handle it, Last week they were talking about religion and everything. I think Madison and Alan, they talked about religion as well. They said that, Alan said if they have kids, they're not going to send them to an all religious school. They'll make them choose or whatever, and that. So, but yeah, and MM and EKG, like they're still in the honeymoon phase, I think, but it's all going to come to a head pretty soon, in my opinion. So, like I said, I ain't gonna spend too much time with them. So, moving on. Next couple I'm gonna talk is Camille and Thomas. Now, here's something that as I said in the beginning, Camille and Thomas are probably gonna be the only couple that makes it this season. But there's something's giving me a weird vibe about Camille. Thomas claims that he's been in, like, he's dated all kind of women and stuff. Camille is frustrated with his lack of swagness and everything. And like I guess she's making it, we seen the scene with her talking to one of her family members about his lack of swagness and everything, and some kind of like blackness and everything. And everybody was just like a little bit offended on why she's like nitpicking at that. Like she like last week she said that she wants her man to like touch her rear end and stuff and everything. And but she's used to that. She's used to really dating guys and being with guys who are not right for her, like who are just like treating her bad or just like rough around the edges and stuff. So the problem is with them is just that the she I don't understand the swagness, and the swagness thing. I feel like that's high school college preference, in my opinion, not people who are in their 30s when you're grown. I mean, that's just my opinion on that and everything. So it's just a little bit, I actually feel a little bit offended by Camille, uh, when it comes with her theory, like really behind that and whatnot and everything, because he's trying. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect, but he is trying. Um, yeah, so we seen them. They go to each other's places. Everything was all cool with that one. And the experts came over to talk about the swagness thing, and they really just advised her, just like not to basically same with Michelle when we get to in a little bit, get in her head about that. He's a good guy, and if you like push right, you guys should make it. That's just my opinion on that one. On the after show, Thomas had said, like, he's like, culturally, and I think he said he wanted somebody who understood him culturally stuff. I think, sometimes I get Thomas and EKG a little mixed up on what they're saying and doing, but on the after show, Thomas said, like he's dated all kind of people, like from every nation and everything. He said he tends to go after like some light skinned girls and stuff and everything, but that doesn't make his like black heart revoked, basically, and everything. And I feel like Camille is like giving his black heart, like is trying to take his black heart and revoke it. If you don't know what that means, it's just like, it just means like you're not acting black or black enough or everything. And even Thomas said this best too. He said, like, when he was in school growing up, he was like, being biracial, he was like, I wasn't black enough for the black kids, I wasn't white enough for the white kids growing up. So you would think someone like Camille would understand that and everything. But it's not about like the race of it, because there's no such thing as acting more black, acting more white, etc. and everything. And I can't stand it when people do that. But but yeah, I'm just like a little. I am slightly just offended by how like Camille is like giving the narrative to Thomas like that. So. I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, I still think they're a good couple and they'll work it out, but that's just that. So moving on, we're gonna move on now to Carla and Juan. So in this episode, Carla and Juan. So Carla, Carla revealed to us in this episode that right before she got married and after the honeymoon, her lease was up at her home. So she has everything basically living out of a storage unit. She took one over to the storage unit, and it was a mess. And I'm just like, how in the world is your, and ironic, your lease up like around this time that you're going to get married and then move into the mutual apartment for 2 months and everything, and then just go that I mean, that's a kind of a conspiracy a little bit. So there was that, and then we got to see Juan's apartment. He had like this, like, he has a hammock in his living room. He said his hammock is like his baby. He's like, that's not going nowhere. You know, he takes his naps there and everything. That's strictly for him and everything. And he has like, it looked like he has this TV that looks like on a dolly. It looked like a dolly. His TV, he has a big like flat screen like on his like on a dolly type thing. Like, you know, typical like like I wouldn't say typical, but it was unique. It was unique. And, you know, Carla said that, you know, she would change some things around. And she even asked one, I was like, if, you know, after decision day, we have to talk after decision day. If I want to move in here, like, would you let me? And how would we do this? And he's like, yeah, you could give it a woman's touch. Like, I could get rid of some things, and we're definitely going to get rid of some of your things. And I'm just like, damn, bro, you want to get rid of all her things and stuff? She didn't look like she had that much in storage, but, you know, it wasn't really all that organized. But she claims that she can give Juan's apartment a little bit of an extra, you know, woman's touch and everything. And he said that he could compromise, but he said the hammock is off limits, and he's keeping that where it's at. No ands, ifs, buts about it. So we seen them meet with the experts, and it just, with them, you know, they have like a good physical attraction, but, you know, they're starting to pull back. Both of them are starting to pull back a little bit. Last week, and I didn't cover it last week. Last week when they were wrapping up the honeymoon, Juan had went out with David, and then had brutally admitted to forgetting about Carla, because that was the title of the name last week, and she made it sure that he won't forget her again. So, you know, they both of them have, like, you know, this attraction to each other, which is great. But now, like, as the honeymoon phases wrap up, now they're starting to pull back and everything, and, you know, they're trying to make it to where, like, you know, it gets seem more real, and then instead of the honeymoon phases. And Pastor Cal like called that out basically for them and everything. But, you know, they're having a good start. You know, their relationship is solid at the moment. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's solid. So we'll see how that plays out. And then finally, the last couple is Michelle and David. So Michelle and David, we first met with the experts. Now, Dr. Pia was the MVP of this episode. She called out Michelle on her BS. Because in the beginning of the season, like, I think even during the matchmaking process, Dr. Pia hintily gave Michelle the hint that, what if your husband lives at home and everything? And Michelle had said back then that, oh, if he lives at home, then I just hope that, like, once we're married, he tries to move out and everything. And if he's saving, okay, and everything. They showed back, and the producers showed back that clip of her saying that. So, like, you know, Dr. Pia, like, called her out about it, because she was like, Michelle, you said in the beginning that, like, you would accept it, basically, and everything. And now, like, you just been acting like so surprised and everything. You know, she said that, and then Michelle did admit that she's been in her head a lot. You know, she said that she is trying and stuff. Prior to them going to each other's home, like, Michelle didn't come home for a night, but she did text David and said that, hey, I'm not going to be here for the night. And, you know, David actually surprisingly respected that, because he said, you know, I'm glad that you texted me and everything. You know, they're not sleeping together. You know, David's still sleeping on the couch, still doing his thing. And, you know, David said, you know, I respect that. I do hope, like, with our marriage that we could start doing more things together. And Michelle was like, you know, like, I actually agree with that. And I actually wrote a list of what we can do together. So she names down the list, and he was all for that and everything. And then she was like, "Oh, look at me trying and stuff and everything." So I mean, I was glad to see her trying, but I think she's just trying to do that to make herself look good, in my opinion. So after that, we first went to go to Michelle's apartment. Michelle's apartment was nice. Like, she had like a little area where she had a nice little house. Like, her work area was to where like it was like literally like out like by the window, like where she could look out at people while she's working and stuff. A little weird, and it was just basic. I felt like Enum had the best apartment out of everybody. Michelle's, it was okay, and David had actually called Michelle's apartment typical, basically. And she kind of got mad at him for saying that it's typical and stuff. But yeah, well, we'll see what typical means when we see your place, buddy. So, I mean, and do I think it was typical? I mean, it's not as typical as yours, but it wasn't. It was nice. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the best, in my opinion. So, so they did that, and then finally, we got to finally see uh, David's basement. So as we know, David lives with his parents in the basement. He says that it's his own separate area. He has his own interests, whatever. His parents don't bother him. They do have to do laundry in the basement, but they do their laundry when he's gone and at work. So David shows Michelle his little basement apartment. She was not impressed. Like she said there was no living room. He has like a little table area. He spent most of his time in the bedroom. He has his own bathroom and laundry area, and that was that. She was not impressed. She said on the after show that was actually worse than what she actually anticipated and everything. She said what we didn't see though is that he did show her some family pictures, and she liked the fact that he's close with his family. But I mean, like, with that whole situation, as I said, like, he's not a bad person because he's doing that. He's not a bum. If he was a bum, then her theories and stuff would be validated. But he's saving up to buy things on his own and stuff and everything. And his parents really don't tell him what to do and stuff and everything. They leave him alone and everything. I understand that Michelle like worked hard to get to where she needs to be, and that's great. I'm all for that. But you can't like, and they told her on the after show that if you won't find the love that you deserve until you let your guard down a little bit, and she agreed. But but I just think with her pickiness like this is why she's still single and everything. Do I think David is the right person for Michelle? No, because David, David needs to work on how he talks to her and everything. He needs to quit over talking to her, talking at her, and like quit like interrupting her when she's trying to speak and everything, and everything, because that will get annoying and that will scare a girl away. So they need to work on that. So, but yeah, we finally got to see David's apartment, and yeah, yeah, it was what we expected. But but if that's him, that's him. Who I don't judge people based on their living conditions. Like I said, if he's working and saving, there's no judgment here. Like now, like I said, now if he was a bum and mooching off his parents at his age and stuff, then okay, I understand that. But he's not. So she really does need to get out of her head. She is starting to try a little bit more, but I think like eventually, like possibly when the swap comes in, it's just all gonna blow up and stuff. So yeah, that was basically that. So yeah, that was it, guys. That was the end of my review for Married at First Sight. Yeah, like I said, guys, I will be on vacation. I look like a hot mess right now, but I don't care. I'm about to go on vacation next week, so there'll be no recaps at all next week. I might do a B90 recap if I have time, like Might just like film, like just do it like immediately after it airs, like I usually do. But I have to go to bed early and stuff, so I don't know. So don't count on it, but other than that, if I don't do a B9 recap, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So until then, y'all stay safe and have a good one. And I'll see y'all again soon. Bye, y'all.